thing I have is Summer Games Fest. Everything announced. I mean, we can talk. We'll talk about the Xbox showcase as well as a part of this. Um, I don't know. Did you get to watch all of this? I didn't watch this, but I do see some
I
highlights from it.
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it either. It seemed not great to me. Like we
Oh,
had Final Fantasy. We had Final Fantasy at the end. There was the Prince of Persia side scroller, which I think was early on, which looked okay.
yep.
Um,
There's Prince of Persia. Mortal Kombat did some gameplay.
yeah, Mortal Kombat. Okay, I'm sure people are excited about
Yeah.
that.
I'm going with like generals of
Um,
like, okay, I'm sure people are going to be excited about Optimus Prime and Fortnite.
it,
Like,
it's not
that's
like there
cool.
was nothing, but to me, this was a bit of an underwhelming showcase. Like, again, I didn't watch it, but at least the impression I got on Twitter was people were not particularly blown away by it.
Yep.
But maybe I'm wrong.
Just seeing like Alan Wake, a Paradox game, Star Trek Infinite, strategy game, kind of interesting. Um, oh man, Akira Toriyama and Bandai Namco. Look at that art style. Look at that, love it.
Yep.
Pal World, which is the Pokemon with guns thing that's very strange. Oh look, a Lord of the Rings game. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, which is a cool idea.
Not Gollum.
No, God, thank God. Just Baldur's Gate 3. Had a trailer, which that game is coming out really soon, by the way.
Yeah.
Twisted Metal TV show on Peacock, which I'll spoil this for everybody. It's not going to be good. I'll spoil that for you. It's a video game TV show. There are very few I would even consider to be okay or good. So, just Marvel Snap getting a new competitive mode, great. You know, good stuff. Call of Duty, Path of Exile 2 got some gameplay though. Path of Exile 2. That's going to be a big one that'll come out. Well, I don't think we got a date there, but more's coming in end of July. Let's see. I'm just like going through Witcher 3 for Netflix. I know a lot of people like that show. Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight. Thank fucking God. We need Nicolas Cage in more things. I've concluded this, Spoon. We need Nicolas Cage in Persona 6. That's my conclusion. Nicolas Cage should be a playable character in everything. It'll make it much better with his crazy antics. There was one more thing. I feel like there was one more thing I noticed in here that I wanted to maybe highlight. No, there wasn't. Okay. Well, anyway, I didn't get to watch this, but like I took in some of the notes and highlights, and I was like, okay, like Fortnite new season, sure, that's already live. Like you can play as Optimus Prime and stuff. Final Fantasy, everybody's gonna soil their pants over that one. You know, there's like some other things that I think people would definitely enjoy from this. Mortal Kombat, things like that. As far as like Xbox is concerned, they had a Fable trailer. It looked like it was Jack and the Beanstalk from the trailer. I don't know. It was one of those like it showed off some little bit of humor, showed off a bit of what the game could be like. I can't say much of anything because there's no gameplay, but you know they did rock Fable in there. Avowed, they showed some Avowed in there. They didn't talk about Redfall at all. I was kind of hoping they'd say something.
That's not surprising.
They'd be like, "Whoops, sorry."
No, I think they're gonna sweep that one under the rug as best they can.
Yeah.
I think they have a few things they have to do for it. They did sell a premium edition that promised some stuff, so they're gonna have to actually release that at some point contractually, or they'll get sued. But
they'll release it and then go, by the way, we're sunsetting the game next year.
Yeah.
They had a Fallout 76 trailer for Atlantic City, which I think there was at least 3 dozen people excited for that. Starfield did get a trailer, and obviously there's the direct after the showcase. They showed off Persona 5 Tactica. They showed Overwatch 2's like updates, including they called it a story mode, but we know
Yeah.
it's not a campaign. It's just probably a little short story. Probably short stories for each character is what it's going to be. But they showed off some updates.
Just some missions for each character, probably.
Yeah, you can play some missions, I guess. I knew that one. If I hadn't known any of the information about Overwatch 2, about the campaign closing, I would have been more excited. But yeah, the whole time I was watching that, I was like, nope. I know this is just little crumbs. They had a Like a Dragon where it looked like the character washed up on Hawaii or something, and was naked, which I thought was a little bit, that got me a little chuckle. That was good. And then they showed some indie games where everybody in the chat spams Z. So there's really not much else to say on some of those indie games. I mean, some of them look interesting. One of them was a climbing focused game, which it's climbing and exploration. So I guess
if they can make the climbing
Yeah.
fun, then that might be good. But
yeah,
again, climbing most of the time in modern video games is just hold
Boring.
up,
It
and
doesn't hold
your
up.
character will climb,
But
or just climb in the direction of the glowing wall.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you think I'm this fucking stupid? Okay, thanks.
No, it looked more than that. It was more than that, to be fair, and there was some exploration. But I just like, though at first I was watching it, I was like, are we really putting an emphasis on climbing? There better be more to this. But yeah, nothing really blew me away. Even the Starfield trailer was kind of just like, we've already seen this stuff. We need to see the actual direct, kind of was my takeaway. Fable, again, not getting any gameplay or anything whatsoever is just a real downer.
The only thing I'll say about it, I didn't see the beginning of it because I was busy with like Avowed and Fable. I missed those. But the parts that I did watch, basically everything that I saw was 2024. Like, what's coming out this year? Starfield.
Yep. There was some
and
there was a couple
Persona
other things.
Tactica, maybe a couple of the indie games,
Yeah,
but
indie
like
games.
everything was next year.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess Xbox. I mean, though, yeah, I don't know. I guess Xbox is just kind of waiting for next year for all their bangers. I don't know. Like,
I mean, we're already halfway through the year, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true.
I think they just want to get stuff on the map again, like Fable and Avowed. I mean, Starfield's the big game. It's Starfield's the next big game.
Well, yeah,
Redfall was previously, and it's
they already took a dump. They already took a dump with Redfall, so
yeah, this is the big game. Like, Starfield is the big game now. Phil's on the hot seat. He's like, fuck, Starfield, Bethesda, can we figure this out?
Yep.
Redfall's like tugging at Phil's shirt, like, what about us, Saya? He's like, get out of here. Go back in the garage. Get back in there. Starfield has to be a banger. I think Starfield has to be like a big hit. Otherwise, I think we talked about this before, so I'm not gonna like drum it up again, but Starfield has to be a banger. That's all I'll say. And if it's not, I think somebody's gonna have to take a look at Phil. I think it'd be like, Phil, like, are we sure you're the guy?
Yeah.
I really like. I know Phil's like
he's really likable.
He's really likable.
He's a good face. He's a good like public speaker. He he seems like he's actually a gamer himself, right? And he seems to connect with the community. Well. He's a good face, but if they keep taking L's, then it's kind of like, well.
So think about the big games that came out. Halo was not like that recent anymore, but like Halo's an L. I'm concluding Halo's an L now.
it was a big W for the first month or two, and then it became a big L after that.
It's
Like,
not exactly infinite when it lasts 2 months.
yeah,
Redfall's an L. That was a
big
big
L.
L. Like, really bad L.
They
Um,
released like nothing last year, basically nothing.
yeah. So Starfield's it. And like,
Yep, Starfield's it.
if I'm Microsoft, I'm like, Phil, you're supposed to be like, we get you're likable, and you got a good, you do good job, you do a good job on shows and everything like that, but you got to execute too. And if you're not managing this appropriately to the point where you're at least putting out consistent good games, and like Halo's the flagship. If Halo isn't the sustaining game, like Call of Duty is still sustained.
Yep.
Warzone has been sustained all this time. Call of Duty's been sustained, but Call of Duty's different. It's got like the yearly release and all that. But you know what I mean. Like Halo lasted 2 months, and poof. So I'm not saying it had to be Fortnite, but like we should still be talking about Halo in a positive light, and we're not.
They just didn't, they just didn't support it, right? There was just
Yeah,
radio silence from 343 for like 6 months, basically.
it was really bad. So I think Phil has to take some responsibility for that. Phil has to take it. Redfall, Phil has to take responsibility for that too. Xbox is in charge. He's in charge. He's got to take some responsibility. You know, if Starfield if Starfield is just an okay game, like let's say it gets a 7.5, that's a fail. Big L. It's
Oh
another
yeah,
big
no,
L.
Starfield needs to be okay. I don't know if it needs to be like Elden Ring or Tears of the Kingdom, but it needs to be like probably high 80s
Yes.
meta at
Yes,
least,
it does.
like
It really
87,
does.
88, 89, 90, something like that, right?
I
Like
agree. It needs to be that. So if it's not that, I think it's an L.
it needs to be the next Skyrim from Bethesda, right? Where it comes out
Exactly.
and everyone's like, "Oh my god, this game is freaking
It,
amazing."
yes. So
And then we're going to re-release it for every freaking platform for the next 10 years.
yeah, exactly. Really, exactly. So I think if it's not that, it's an L. And then at that point, I think you got to look at Phil and be like, Phil, we had 3 big titles, and none of them worked.
Yeah.
That's on you now. Like you got to take some responsibility.
And next year is going to be big for them because it seems like they're finally all these studios that they bought back in like the late 2010s. They're
Yeah.
finally getting okay. We're finally getting some big titles out of them that are coming out now.
Yes.
Avowed, Fable, uh, Starfield, um, In Exile had that like Clockwork game at the end, Clockwork something.
Mm-hmm.
And those are all like 2024. So I kind of agree with you. If Starfield flops, it's probably just gonna be like I don't know. But next year is gonna be huge for
It
Xbox. Like
is.
they need multiple hits out of these
Next year has to be a good year.
these studios.
It's got to be a good year. This has so far been a really downer year, obviously. Um, Starfield's got to hit. If it doesn't, um, again, I think Phil's on the hot seat if it doesn't, and they're like, all right, if next year's not good, you're out. It's just, I feel like that's just got to be it. It's like you got to get somebody else because it, you can't consistently buy a studio like you can't buy a studio like Bethesda and all the things that come with Bethesda and have Redfall come out, advertise the crap out of it like you did, talk about it, and have it actually be one of the worst titles this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't do that.
Only Gollum saved. Only
Gollum saved the shit out of them. I
Yeah.
feel like Microsoft just paid WB like, hey, can you make this game shitty or something?
You make this.
Can you just
worse
make this
than
a terrible
Redfall?
fucking video game? And they're like, I mean, yeah, if you pay us.
I mean, I don't know if you saw this, but Jason Schreier released an article. He did a deep dive on Redfall, and like, it's kind of what you expected. It was a game that was basically mandated by ZeniMax in the time where, like, you know, these microtransactions and like open world live service was like a big thing.
Yes.
It got mandated by ZeniMax. The direction of the game was terrible. 70% of the studio left because they didn't want to work on this game, and apparently the rest of the studio, when Microsoft came in and bought them, was like hoping and begging Microsoft to cancel the game because nobody liked it and nobody
Oh
wanted to work on it at
God.
the studio. It was just an absolute fucking disaster, which is kind of what you expect when a game comes out in that state. You're just like, there is no way that like development went well on this game because this
Yeah.
game is just a piece of shit. Like,
It's amazing, by the way, what a like a solid, good advertising campaign can actually do for you. Because that game really made us feel like, oh, this looks pretty interesting. Like this could be a good game. And the game comes out and you're just like, what was advertised compared to this?
they they spent all their freaking budget on those cinematic trailers, and the game has no cinematics in it. It's just like the story is like still images. It's a slideshow.
Oh my
It's
God.
so bad. Like, yeah, the development of that game was terrible, and the people that were working at that studio didn't want to work on the game. And as I said,
Wow.
apparently like 70% of the employees at the studio left during development of the game because they didn't want to work on that game. That's not what that studio made. They made like story focused single player immersive games.
Yep.
And they stripped out the microtransactions like at the very end. It was originally supposed to have like, you know, live service microtransactions and like all that crap. So,
Hmm. Interesting.
yeah, that game was a
That just
disaster.
killed the studio. That killed the studio too. Because the studio's just gutted. Like 70%
Yeah,
of the people left. Like, what do you do now? That's
all I'm
studio.
gonna say is like hopefully they can. They're not gonna rehire the same people,
Nope.
but hopefully they can hire another set of talented developers and actually work on a game that the studio wants to work on, as opposed to
As opposed to
Red
ZeniMax telling them
Redfall.
make Redfall. And they're like, don't we have anybody else that could do that? Tragic.
Yeah,
Tragic
and
situation
and
of
and
ZeniMax.
I don't know what Microsoft was doing when they came in and were like, yeah, let's take this game and make this like a flagship title. No, they should have swept that one on. They should have had that game in the freaking indie section
They should have
of
had it in
one of
the
their
indie section.
presentation. I don't know like
I
who decided that was going to be like a flagship title, because it sure was not.
that was a yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. I did not know about that with the Jason Schreier article. That's interesting. Oh well. This is what
Yeah,
happens. People it just I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like they wanted that open world with microtransactions. Like yeah, ZeniMax had like a hard on for that, like with Fallout 76 and
yep.
then with Redfall. They had a big hard on for like it's gotta be open world. Get the microtransactions in there. But sir, we're using Fallout 4's horribly buggy and terrible engine. Just do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a disaster. The other thing I want to mention right now is the at least the Twitter opinion I'm seeing is that the Starfield Direct was quite good and people are impressed.
Good.
So yeah,
That's good to hear. It needs to be good. It really does. It really does need to be successful. Otherwise, I can't stress this enough. I do think at some point you got to look at Phil and be like, "Phil, we get it. You're a good guy. You're very likable. You do a great job with PR, but you're not managing this well. You're really not." 343 was a dud, which 343 is just a dud. I can't believe they're sticking with 343 after all this.
you know, they should literally just like kill that studio.
They should
Like, I
just
don't know,
that studio
they're
is
shit.
really not
They're
working.
trash.
It's
Like,
not working. Um and then they have like Redfall obviously being like a complete disaster. Maybe Starfield will be great, but I don't know. Like at some point, you just have to look at Phil and be like, Phil, like What's going on? Why aren't our first party
We
games like?
we
What's going
we
on?
spent all this money and bought all these studios. Where are the good games? Where are
Where?
the good games
What are you
at?
doing?
Like,
What are you doing? I know you want to sell Game Pass, but Game Pass doesn't sell if the games stink.
yeah,
So we got to get good games in there, not Gollum and Redfall. Like, what are you doing?
yeah.
Not to say Gollum. Gollum's obviously not in there, but and like Halo too. It's like Halo. We got 343 set up. What's going on? This game was good for 2 months. What happened? Where'd all the popularity go? Feels like, oh, I can't tell. I can't tell you. We have seasonal content that's like 3 seasons in length. So, okay. Well, that was our news. I don't want to talk about the Discord name changes that I ranted to you before we started, but
Yeah.
Discord name changes went through. That's not really like a big news thing because we talked about it before. But as I expected to happen, people are sniping popular names and holding them for ransom. What a shocker. Can't believe that happened. Color
Yep.
me surprised. Thanks, Discord. Thanks for creating this, Discord. We love you. We love your activities that nobody probably uses. We love that. We love that our Discord Nitro used to have a benefit of having a custom discriminator, and now that's just a worthless perk now. We love that. We love that kind of thing. So, okay.